Well, maybe I should tell a little bit about my background first. So my name is Artto. I live in Estonia, 39 years old, and I grew up in a little small village. And basically, there was not much to do. So I decided to do some stuff myself, like taking up breakdancing back in 2000. And then in 2001, I was like 20 years, something like that at that time, or 18, went to high school. So then I discovered at 2001 that you can make music, your own music on computer. So I was like, wow, what is this? So I became a music producer, so to speak, and I made some beats and we formed a band and like this breakdance rap project band. So we did pretty many performances here in Estonia in many places, and we were like creating our own songs in Estonian language, and so you can even find those in YouTube. Actually, it's the project called Electronic Crew. So yeah,
nice.
So, I made the beats and stuff, and later on I also was a DJ. We organized parties, and so it was like a nightlife and stuff, women and so forth. So but now happily married over 11 years or something like that.
Wow.
No children, not at least here in the physical realm, so that makes my life easier. And actually on 2005 I got into church actually. And then I became a follower of Jesus, and my life started to change in a different path.
So that's not something you grew up with?
No, I didn't have a religious background or family or upbringing, but I did have curiosity about life in general, big questions like where do we come from, why, what's the destination, and so forth. So why am I here? What am I supposed to do with my life? And well, yeah, I've been looking for answers, and I have found a lot of answers that have satisfied my mind and my soul. So, and that's a longer story. But regarding my spiritual findings and stuff, I will leave you later on some links if you want to research some more. I have also made some videos, and when I was doing these band and project stuff, I also learned video editing and some photo editing because we needed to give out singles and create music videos and stuff. So I just took on and just started learning stuff. And then later I worked at radio stations, also made these audio commercial clips and other stuff. So then later on got into sales business, so to speak. If you know this electronics store, which is called Euronics or Euronics, it's here in Europe, basically. Like laptops, washing machines, whatnots. So yep. I became a sales guy there, and like 2.5 years or something like that. So I learned about selling stuff and showing the value. Yep. Basically, selling is showing the value and explaining it to people. And then I got into network marketing, like Lyconet and other stuff, and I read Gal's books and other stuff. So just learned about that. So in 2018. Yep. And
so lots of self-taught.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been interesting, and life has been interesting because just I have taken up hobbies and stuff. And then 2020, I think it was 2020 in December or something like that, I got into crypto.
Oh, nice.
I discovered there is Bitcoin and, well, another like 1,000 or more various crypto projects. And then I got into anarchism, Larkin Rose, Jeff Berwick, and Austrian economics and Telegram chats. And I started a podcast here in Estonia regarding anarchism and how it works out, and how it also relates well with spirituality and God, actually. So
Yeah.
great presentations. And
it's interesting. I read a lot of fiction in addition to history and everything like that. And I was reading The Once and Future King, the King Arthur tales, written in the 1950s, though. So like the relatively modern retelling. And I found out that Merlin is actually an anarchist. There's this whole scene where they are discussing what the best systems to avoid war, and King Arthur goes and hangs out with the ants and finds them atrocious and this militaristic communist style, and he hangs out with the geese and finds them much more lovely. And anyway, the discussion comes down to Merlin basically arguing that anarchism is the best way to organize man because it's the only way to respect an individual's rights. I just thought that was interesting.
yeah, very good comment. I didn't know that, so thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, overall, I actually wanted to tell more about the Pirate Chain project because that caught my eye back in 2021 when the bull run was in full swing and, coins were pumping and stuff. So
it's when it catches a lot of eyes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it made like a 55x in price action. So I discovered it from CoinGecko. But then I just looked at the white paper. I was like, Pirate Chain, what is this? Like, is this a joke or what? And then I realized this is a serious project. Came to save the day, basically. And it's the most private cryptocurrency out there. It's even more private than Monero. And
okay, I don't actually know much about it, so I'm definitely interested to hear.
All right, so Pirate Chain, the most private crypto coin. Basically, what it offers, it's actually like a grandchild of Bitcoin, I would say, because from the Bitcoin blockchain source code, you can develop other blockchains, right? So there is this team, I think there's the Zcash team who created the Zcash coin with zero knowledge. Basically, it is supposed to be kind of like a private coin, but it isn't because it has optional privacy, which is really not the private by default, like Monero, for example. And so there came along Komodo team who took the Zcash code, edited it, and made their own blockchain, which is actually also transparent, but they fiddled with it and they created another chain, which one of the guys came up with a name for it, like, let's call it Pirate. Although nothing to do with piracy, but it's or everything to do with privacy. But the name stuck, and they launched it as a full-blown, ready blockchain, feature complete. And what it offers to people is financial privacy. This means that all the transactions that you do are not on a public ledger like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Avalanche or whatever. So no other people can see your transactions and the amounts that you have on your wallet address, which makes it very useful. And so there is a use case for it. So it's like HTTP versus HTTPS, which means there is encryption. You cannot steal the data and so forth. So for the financial privacy, and it also enables people to transact freely and without any notice from third parties and prying eyes, so to speak.
Is it limited in terms of the number of tokens that can be distributed?
Yep, 200 million is the maximum. Nice. Yeah, and it's proof of work coin, like Bitcoin is proof of work, which makes it, of course, the most strongest, because the proof of stake is not as strong as the proof of work. And it's also, of course, decentralized, as you already guessed, I believe. And it also has this Komodo's delayed proof of work system built on top of that, which means the blockchain itself runs as it's supposed to run, but it also has the a function that is being created by Komodo team, which basically does this, that it hashes Pirate's blockchain into the Komodo's own blockchain and also into the Litecoin blockchain, which means that if you want to create like a 51% attack towards the pirate blockchain, you need to get the hash rate power at least 51% of the pirate network and of the Komodo network and of the Litecoin network, which is virtually impossible. So, yeah, never gonna happen. And of course, the full nodes and the miners are running constantly, so this basically is growing and makes it unstoppable, of course, because as you know, decentralization means that if you close one computer, the others are still running and the blockchain works. So, and what I also like about this, it's not like private coin. Okay, who cares? But it's pirate chain. Arr! It's like, it creates some emotion. It sounds interesting. What is this? I mean, like, catches your eye and your ear. So that's what I like about this as well. The community is actually amazing, I gotta say. And the team, of course, as well. So it's just amazing. Although many people in the team are anonymous and they are like keeping a low profile, there are also others who are well known and show up their faces in Zoom calls and other places. So
now, is this something that you've been able to actually use and kind of transact with people, or is it kind of not in that stage yet?
What do you mean? Like, have I been using...
Have you been able to spend it or accept it for any services, goods? Yeah. Yeah,
of course. And I will get you there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have sold a laptop for pirate coin, which is called ARRR, ARRR, it's the ticker. And this is being utilized and used right now in the world. So I'll get to that as well later. So there was a fair launch, no ICO, no pre-mine, there is no company behind it. Just guys just started the blockchain and just here we go. The wallets are in Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android, and iOS as well, actually. And everything, the materials are on the website, and Telegram support group is there, Discord is there. The transaction, the block time is something like 1 minute. And the anonymity set is over 1 million, which means it's like Monero has a anonymity set of 16, and this has over 1 million, and it grows with every transaction. So that's just basically, it's impossible to track backwards like the transactions pretty much. So yeah. So 200 million coins and a little bit over 4 years old, the whole project. So, and there is also being work done. There is also, actually this has been, the wrapped R has been also implemented, which means you can transfer R into wrapped R coin on Binance Smart Chain, and you can enter into DeFi, and then you make gains anonymously, and then you switch back from WAR to R, and you make like disappearance, so to speak. And other kind of stuff is also like going on all the time, like marketing and events and whatnot. So we even had a music competition, privacy shanty, and we had some remix contests. So that was fun.
Nice. And you had experience in that.
Yeah. Yep. And I also partook of the contest. So as you know, Bitcoin is visible. Everything is seeable. So evildoers, competitors, your ex-wives, whoever, politicians, neighbors, they can see how much you have. And well, especially if you're a business and you start accepting Bitcoin onto a certain address, everybody can see how much you have and where it came from. And so that's not good. So that's why privacy is also really important for businesses and of course for regular people, so to speak. Risks. Well, about risks, there is also the risk of losing money, so to speak, if the price is volatile. But other kinds of risks are, I would say, maybe if electricity or internet connection drop for a longer period, then that would be a risk. And other types of risks, well, the government coming after you, well, they could see that you have Bitcoin, but they cannot see that you have ARRR. So it's actually even less risky to have ARRR. So yeah, why and here is like a short list of why accept R as payment. And there is fungibility as well, which means that you cannot tell the difference from one coin and the other coin. With Bitcoin you can, because there is transaction history, and you can see, hey, this guy used this Bitcoin for child pornography, so you got this now, and we're going to confiscate this from you. So this could create problems. So that's not fungible. So, but with R you cannot see anything, so that's fungible. Here's the price chart. 2020 May 23rd, $0.03, and here it went like up to. It actually touched like $16 in April 2021. Yeah, kind of like made a really high run. So yeah, here is some setting up, like where to get the wallet from Pirate.black. Install the wallet application, make the backup of your seed phrase, and well, let people know that you have now the address, and send it out to the people so they can send you payments. By the way, I'm also doing some video editing work and some graphical design, and for that I have also received payments in ARRR. So. Yeah. And we have this place which is called arrmada.com. That's a directory listing of various merchants over the world. I think there's like 180 something merchants listed. And recently, one of the guys in the community launched barter.com. So it's
that's cool.
I like those word plays as well. So yeah, and barter.com, I will share the screen on that part as well in a moment. But yeah, the computer wallet looks like that. That's the treasure chest wallet. So from here you can see all the transactions, of course, and your own address, and you can turn this into a QR code so people can scan it with the mobile phone. So, and to be fair and honest, this picture here on the right is actually a real photo I took, because I went to this local flower shop here in my city here, and I talked with the manager. Hey, why don't you accept cryptocurrency like parachain? And then I explained it, and we set up a wallet, and I designed and printed this for her. So now I can pay for flowers and stuff in her store with the mobile app.
Nice. Have you asked if anybody else has started using crypto to pay?
Well, in Estonia, there's not many. I am the one of those rare people who is driving the adoption, because I see there's a future for that, and people really could use this instead of the current systems. So,
and at very least, if they're familiar with it before any major currency collapses or anything like that, could just continue doing business, relatively uninterrupted. So
yeah, of course. And by the way, if these CBDCs are coming, well, and the total control, we need some freedom money, and Pirate Chain is exactly that. So yeah, scan the code and just send the amount. You can see how much is this in the US dollars, and you can even send a memo like for the flowers, and hit send and it does it. So easy as that. Options. Yeah, where to get the pirate coin. Actually, you can get it from KuCoin, for example. Swap it from USDT or from Bitcoin. There's also tradeogre.com and some other places which you can see them on CoinGecko, where the exchanges are, where you can get the coin. So the arrmada.com, Pirate.black. Pirate.black is the main website, and everything is mostly written there. Here's the end. you can support me. Artto. So
there you go, another one of those.
Yeah, word plays. So thank you, and that was the really short version of it. And if I share my screen, so I'll jump to I'm using Linux Mint actually. So I think it's 7 years or something like that. So I wanted to show the barter.com. So this is a recent thing, so you can just sell your stuff or services or put something to rent in this place. So really easy and simple to use. I wonder if my network connection is slow or the VPN is somehow doing some interesting stuff. I'm using VPN. It's the Mulvad. That one, yeah. I'm pretending to be in my own country. Sweet. But it's a different city, so it's the main city. Yeah. But I'm in the center of Estonia, so. Let's see. Search. Okay, so anyways, electronics, fashion, and it's growing. It has been up like a few months, I would say, this barter.com.
Is it specific to a particular area, or it's meant to grow to be worldwide? Yeah.
The second option, yeah. It's meant to grow worldwide. So you can just, pirate chain miners. Nice. So smart colloidal silver and whatnot is sold here. Even actually the hardware wallet just came out recently for a pirate chain. So that's one step again that has been made. And I also signed up here, and there are some packages that you can choose from. So really cheap, actually.
Yeah, definitely think that technology to increase barter, or I mean, if you have the medium of exchange, in this case, that's going to be super important, because I think people are realizing that, like you said, with the central bank digital currencies, or just the way you can be tracked through the regular currencies right now, it's going to be more important to facilitate trade outside of those systems.
True, exactly. I totally agree. One of the community guys started this video channel, and we have like some subscribers already. And let's see, I think we should have 155 videos up. Short doses regarding privacy and regarding pirate chain and stuff. So really good thing to just send to people who are new to crypto. And also a lot of CBDC stuff has been covered here. And yeah, so as you can see, much is going on in our community, and I've been in it like a year and a half, and it's all volunteers. It's run by volunteers. Everybody, no one gets paid. There is no marketing team as per se, and so basically we just do it out of our free will and enthusiasm, and just to better the world.
Yeah. That's great.
Linktree/pirate chain. So here is one of the videos that I created introducing pirate chain. We have the website, wallets, roadmap link, white paper link, barter, armada, and so forth. So I think that is a very good overview of stuff.
Yeah.
To get into what
sounds like a cool project. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just thinking that you are also building this parallel economy community and parallel community, so to speak, who don't want to be dependent upon governments and rulers and stuff. So I just saw that pirate chain would be a good implementation in these communities worldwide. So that's why I contacted you. So I kind of felt the similarity.
Especially if it's easy to use, and like you said, your community is really into it and all voluntary. So if that could become a tool for you all to trade amongst yourselves, and then hopefully it catches on and gets bigger. But I guess the point is that it doesn't necessarily have to still utilize these things and have them be beneficial outside of the system. Obviously, it wouldn't be good if the price totally collapsed or anything like that. But I think as long as you have a medium of exchange among people that agree to it, that's limited in supply, it can make a lot of sense. So, it's hard to tell what is going to catch on and what isn't going to catch on. So I guess part of it is getting vendors to accept it and everything like that. But in relation to the parallel economy, the whole point is, like you said, to be kind of outside of the system and to get your stuff locally. If there's an internet connection and you need services over the internet, then I think that's great as well. But for those necessities like energy and food, to barter is just there's a reason it was left behind. So if you're relying entirely on barter in your local community, it's just not going to work as well. So to have a medium of exchange like this is important, especially if it's private, because then you don't have the government breathing down your neck, pointing to something and saying, you sold raw milk for and you're not supposed to do that, or something along those lines. So
yeah, where is our part? We want some.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess with a lot of these laws about income taxes, it's like, they say that your income, whatever source derived. So I wonder if they mean, if all you do is grow vegetables, I wouldn't be surprised if the government says that they should get a piece of the vegetables. So yeah, there's really no telling how far they would go to try to take what's yours. I think this is the way the world is going, though, is that it is becoming harder for the government to just easily collect their tax dollars, which is, of course, where they get a lot of their power. Personally, I don't like recommend breaking the law or anything, just because I think it's a lot easier to live freely outside of a cage. But the time is coming where if something's unjust enough, there's also natural law, and you got to be able to protect yourself against all aggressors.
Yeah, I agree. But I have one question for you.
Yep.
Actually, even two questions. What if we can create our own laws? Like, why could those other people just create their laws and everybody has to subvert to those, and we cannot create the laws? Like, the second question is where did they get the rights to create laws? Like,
right, and they claim that it's the power is derived from the people, but in practice we can tell that they obviously don't believe that. So I mean, you mentioned anarchism earlier, and I think that's a great philosophical point to start from, because what it all comes back down to is, can you secede from the larger government? And if you have, not really just a majority, because then you're doing the same thing, you're dictating to the minority. So if you have a consensus of people who say, well, I don't want to be a part of this larger political body, whatever that is, then obviously they should be able to set their own laws and rules in their group. And whether that's a physical community or an online interaction, it's a contract. Set the contract rules. This is how we're going to interact. If you break those rules, you've violated the contract. And there's really no reason why you can't bring that through down to the individual. And that's sort of the idea, I think, that's my understanding of the idea behind anarchism. Not no rules, but it's basically agreements. It's actual contracts instead of this imaginary social contract that they say we all have to be part of, but you never explicitly agreed to. Should be explicitly agreeing to these things. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And down to the individual level, down to that private property level, that's really where the rules should be set. Now, of course, you leave your property and you start interacting with other people, and I think it all really does come down to private property, starting with self-ownership. So you obviously have the right to set the rules and the laws for your own body. So if somebody else is going to, interact with you and your body, then they have to do so on your terms, and same with you and other people. So I don't actually think it would be a problem to set rules this way, because it does come back down to that self-ownership where as long as you're interacting in a way that doesn't hurt other people, then why shouldn't you be able to do whatever you're trying to do?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, anarchism, if I may add that here, stands for no rulers. It's like there is no master over you. And of course, this means that you are no master over others. So, because, exactly like you said, anarchism doesn't mean no rules, because we could actually even call this community guidelines. And I would think the best ones are already pretty much, I think Jesus said it best, just do everything in love, basically. Love God and love your neighbor, basically. So, and if you are loving and do everything out of love, this means that you don't hurt others. You don't try to force them into anything that they don't want to, and so forth. So So yeah, doing good and focusing on that and focusing on expressing love that you have. And if you are unable to do that, everybody has the free access to the Heavenly Father, the Creator, who is unconditional love, and every soul today has the opportunity of receiving His love freely, which is able to transform the soul into this divine love essence, which gives the power to love everybody unconditionally. So I know this from personal experience, and this has made such a difference in my life quality, so in the way I live. So the point of my activity here is just to create a better world, create beautiful destinies, or at least help the Heavenly Father to do this, because this is His plan as well. He wants to see beautiful destinies, and He's willing to help, and I'm just one of those who is voluntarily helping Him out, and and I love people, so, and I love Him, and I also love myself, of course. So, and I believe there is like a lot of wonderful potential in humanity, and if we come together and we unite in love, well, wonderful things could happen, and we could turn this place, this earthly plane, into a paradise as it was supposed to be from the beginning.
I agree. I think that having I'm not particularly as religious as you or maybe some of the viewers. I grew up Catholic, so I think it's obviously a part of my philosophy. But even coming from the standpoint of just having that love, like you said, the wavelength that you're thinking on matters. So if you think that the world is evil and people are inherently evil, and you're waiting to be screwed over or waiting to be attacked, I think that's going to have a really bad influence on your mindset, and kind of more of a bunker mentality, closed off, untrusting. It doesn't mean you have to be naive, but I do think having this vision of a better future is important, because I don't think that the future is going to be bad. And I don't think it's going to be dominated by these 1984 style authoritarian governments either. I think we go through phases, and I think the last couple of years and maybe even the next couple of years could be a dark time. It does certainly seem to be, certain events are aligning to that. But I think if we keep this vision of a better future and realize that we have the individual power to do it, because I think that is what people get discouraged, and they feel like resistance is futile almost. And I think that's giving more credit than is due to these governments and these other power players, because they have this posture. They pretend that they're omniscient. They pretend that they have everything under control. But then when you look at the very basic things that they try to do, they can't do it. They're pretty incompetent, and they have a lot of failures, and they don't use the experience, the 50 years of experience in government that the current administration has. But they can't even, get the price of oil or the amount of oil output from Saudi Arabia. The point being, it's not a good idea to think that they have more power than they actually have, when the individual actually has a ton of power, and more so than ever before. Because if this was a different time in history, there's not much. You kind of need other organizations. Right now, you can really do everything on one piece of property and stay connected to the world with the internet. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing. Technology can absolutely enslave you to the corporations and to the government. But also, if you know how to use it and if you use it correctly, it can free you. And I think you mentioned a couple of times that you're using Linux. And that's one of those examples where, maybe it's easier to go use Google everything, the Chrome browser and all that. But if you just take that technology and use it for your own purposes, it's also decentralizing. So,
yeah, exactly, because it gives more freedom. And when I got into Linux, actually, I also did some research, of course, what it is, where it came from, why it was created, and so forth, and researched the team a little bit and their mindset, mentality, like how do they look upon the people whom they are serving or creating this operating system for. And here, mostly I mean Linux Mint team. When I started using this operating system, I felt safe. I felt secure. I could feel like, nobody's watching me. My files are safe. No one can get in that easily to just discover my pictures or my, cat videos or whatnot, or business plans. So I may have some really interesting stuff here in my computer and programs. So if you have Microsoft Windows, well, basically it sends information out to Microsoft servers about what applications you are using, what is installed, and I think even up to the point of gathering data of what files you have in your computer, what these consist of. I mean, the picture files and everything. So metadata and it's all closed source, so we cannot check what it does and what it doesn't. It's like a black box. But with Linux, it's all open. You can even see the source code and everything. So you can find out if this is sending some data to some servers or whatnot. So, and the community in Linux is also really keen on looking the code and making sure there are no backdoors or anything suspicious anywhere. So that's interesting and good.
And that's just one example. There's, the Raspberry Pi devices are these, little computers that are open source. I think actually they can use Linux, right? Or So same sort of thing. If you want the smart home, if you want all the smart appliances, if you want security cameras and timers and all that, you can have it. It might take a little bit more effort and a little bit more time to implement, but you can do it in a secure way where you're in control of your data. And that's one of these things that I consider part of the parallel economy. People want an easy solution, and the easiest thing is to buy, Amazon's Ring or Google Nest. If you can provide an off-grid or a private system for whatever people want, if somebody out there is a programmer or just knows how this stuff works, that's got to be in demand. That's got to be a huge thing that people would pay for. And I think that would be I would consider that a parallel economy business, because what you're doing is you're taking that power away from Google or Amazon and you're handing it to the individual. And you're helping them and you're making money in the process. That's how you get the economy. It's even better if you don't use fiat dollars, or if you take ARRR or whatever to do it, because then you're completely removing that interaction from the system. And I guess I just don't think that that's that hard to do. So
well said. And the instructions on how to do many of those things are available in the internet and also in YouTube, actually, if you want to. There are many people showing you how to set up a Raspberry Pi, install Linux onto it, and just install applications. Everything is findable. There is no excuse I cannot do that, too complicated. No, it's not. And if you have some issues coming up, some error messages, then you just search from DuckDuckGo or some other search engine to find the solution for that. It's usually up in somewhere in the forums. So, and it's just some entering some commands and it's fixed. So, or restarting the system, it works. And
So people can be completely self-taught these days as well. And this is the other thing that I think a lot of people complain about, the price of college and, education should be free. You should forgive my student loans. It's tell me, how many books have you read? Have you taken the free online classes from Harvard, or, you know what I mean? What have you done for to advance yourself before you come trying to tell everybody else in society what they owe you? An entire education could easily be free right now. I understand that there are other reasons to want to go to college. And a lot of those is kind of the social atmosphere, the networking, the lifelong friends. And I don't discount that, because I don't think that we can all live online and be, totally in the virtual world or whatever. But there's no reason why you have to pay $50,000 a year to do that. So, and that's part of the idea behind the first stage in what I want to create, is what I'm calling the academy, where you get young people who want to learn some real skills down on a campus that's a physical campus together, and you start building self-sufficiency. That's where you start. That's the foundation of it. But then you expand from there. Once you have that, food and energy on one property and everybody's working together and enjoying their lives, it's like, okay, well, how do we expand from here? Does that mean creating more parallel economy businesses? Does that mean getting, more people down there with different interests that they want to learn about and doing that on that campus? Because I've seen the benefit in my own life from mentors. Yes, a lot can be self-taught and everything, but you definitely need, first of all, people around you who are also energetic and trying to do these things. If you're surrounded by people that are lethargic and kind of just like, NPCs, I guess you could say, it's not gonna lend itself to that to growth and prosperity. Creating that environment where you have the right mindset and you're around the right people and you can learn from them and learn from each other, I think is really important.
Yeah, exactly. So about this academy, is this already a real thing existing somewhere, or is it in the process of building?
It's in the process of building. So I started all this. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've written a lot about these sorts of ideas. But in August, I launched my actual project to try to make this happen. Because one thing that you need outside support, and you need financing. So right now, I don't own the physical property that I need to create this. The first step to me wasn't acquiring that property. The first step is getting other people on board and telling people what the plan is so that we can build towards that. Right now, I have this locals page, which is a lot like Patreon, except more free speech minded. And, it's $5 a month to see these exclusive videos. I don't think that's a big ask for people to pay $5 a month. And I think they're getting value from these videos where I talk about either some things like marketing or history and planning for the future, the way that the future is going to unfold, and the way that history has unfolded that has fed into the current place that we're in, and marketing and how to build these parallel economy businesses. So obviously I'm trying to give people enough value so that $5 a month is worth it. And if we get enough people involved in this project while we're all building our own things, while we're all interacting and creating things together in this online community, that will also help fund this project that I'm talking about, where you have this physical campus. I'm not entirely dependent on that as well. Like I have my own plans to do this on a smaller scale if I'm not able to get this up and running on the large scale. But that's also why I want to do this in stages. And, the ultimate dream is create your own country. Can I just declare sovereignty and do that right now? Well, I don't really think that that's a possibility right now. So I have to take smaller steps to get there. And this is that first step. I want to break ground. The plan is to break ground within 2 years. And so then less than a year from now is when I'm going to get serious about buying that first property. And I want multiple locations as well. So, the first property that I buy is not going to be the end all be all. And we're trying to choose a spot that's already pretty good politically, so that we don't have to try to make changes. A lot of this effort that goes into politics and trying to change laws and change who's elected, I think is often wasted effort. And so if you can choose a place that's already pretty good, that you can put all your effort towards production and building the type of community that we've been talking about, instead of trying to change the world around it.
Do you mean a place like Mexico? Or
Mexico could work. So right now I'm in Puerto Rico, which has amazing tax incentives. And there's a lot of other great things about Puerto Rico. There's I think the climate is great. There's a lot of abundance naturally in terms of food. And it's one of these places that's not really taking advantage of all of its, of all the benefits. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's not all Puerto Rico's fault. There's, the history of colonialism and everything. But Puerto Rico does offer some benefits in that regard. I also really like Florida. I think it has a pretty good political environment. I think there's a lot of freedom and there's a lot of land in the center of the state that's pretty unrestricted. You can basically do what you want on. I think Florida has a good future, but I guess the question is, do you really want to be pouring effort into building something in the United States when it really looks like, to me, the United States is going to have a bit of a tumultuous future? There's
Europe as well.
And Europe as well, yeah. So Mexico is appealing, especially I think the Yucatan Peninsula, because there's all these old abandoned properties that were agave plantations, which they make tequila out of agave, but they also make rope. And some geopolitical changes, I think around, I can't remember exactly, but about 100 years ago, made it no longer beneficial to be creating this rope in Mexico. And those plantations were abandoned. So there's all these large properties, like hundreds, even thousands of acres for a relatively good price. And this is close to North America, where I'm from, and where, we'd be pulling a lot of our subscribers from. And Mexico is probably has a good future in terms of demographics. Obviously, Europe, the United States, and a lot of other places have an aging population without the birth rates to replace it. Mexico is not in that position, and it does already a lot of its manufacturing and a lot of its food growing at home, even some oil. And so you just look at this and you go, well, the demographics line up for Mexico to have a pretty nice future. Now, is it the best in terms of tax rates? Maybe not. In terms of residency, it's pretty easy to get residency, so you could get a lot of people down here. So there's definitely a lot to consider when thinking about this first location. Shouldn't be very tax heavy anyway, based on the type of people. Like I'm talking about, we're bringing students down here. It's not like we're going to be creating a lot of that monetary wealth at first. The self-sufficiency to me is wealth. In fact, that's real wealth, to have a self-sufficient property. Like, I can't think of much that is more valuable than that. But in the first stages, do we need to have a 0% tax rate and all that? I think the first stages, it's more important to be able to do what you want to do on your own property. So those are the three places that I'm thinking about right now. But there's also, could consider plenty of other places as well.
Nice. Nice. I'm just also very excited to hear about that, because I'm kind of dreaming of creating something similar, but it's, it takes other enthusiastic people with a vision and understanding and commitment to do so.
You don't really need a majority. If you have hundreds, thousands, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you have other people that are like-minded and willing to come together either online or in person to form these communities, you have a lot of power and you have a lot of strength. And, are you going to get everything you want? Are you going to be able to influence national politics? No, but you will be able to, live the life that you want to live. And I think that the conditions that the world is moving towards are going to allow that even more. There's a lot to unpack there for why I believe that, but I see that's the way the world is moving.
Yeah, people are waking up, and that's good to see. Yeah, all of this new world order is getting exposed, and that's good.
Yeah, I think people understand that. Basically this whole like experts thing, it's kind of everybody, listen to the experts. This has been their rallying call for the last couple of years, but this has actually been the world order since World War II, is rule by experts. And that works sometimes. It worked at the beginning a little bit when you could actually trust the experts. Now, could you ever really trust the experts? I mean, the
Yeah,
FDA
maybe they are paid.
Exactly. The whole sugar thing, like one guy in the sugar industry paid off one guy at the FDA, and for decades they made fat the bad guy instead of sugar. So that's an example of where the centralized control is really bad. I
And
mean,
science
honestly,
as well. You can buy
right?
scientists, and then you can own
Exactly.
science.
So I think that it feels bad to have that mistrust in society and to not be able to trust anybody, but it's like a growing pain that you have to go through to realize that, you know, just a credential is not enough to be like, oh, I can trust this person. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't rely on experts. It means that there needs to be a different way of deciding who is an expert, and to get a rubber stamp from the government or from a university to say like, this is the person you should listen to and they can't be wrong, I think is wrong. And people are realizing that. Same thing with the Federal Reserve, all of these centralized institutions that it's like, no, trust us, we're the experts. People want more. They want to, if you can't explain it to them, then they're not going to believe you. And I think that's a good thing. You know, it's not like I am the science because I said so. It's, I can explain it to you. I can explain why we're going to do this. Yeah. So again, from in the midst of it, it can be terrifying and it can seem like everything's getting much worse. But I think when you take a longer view of it, it's necessary that we go through this change, and it's going to feel weird while we're going through it. But in the end,
yeah. Otherwise, there would not be a change. I guess everything
right.
would just go on the same direction. So that's why the change could be painful, but the pain is not going to last like forever. So it's for a short time, I guess. Yeah.
And it's going to be different, you know, depending on your situation. It could be way more painful or way less painful. So, this is the other idea behind the parallel economy, is that you're not just doing, if you start a parallel economy business, you're not just doing that for yourself, and you're not just doing it for other people. So the whole point of any business is to help other people. That's literally why you have a product or a service.
To serve.
Yeah, to serve, exactly. So you're giving that, you're exchanging value. So you get value in exchange for the value you give. That's the way that commerce should work. And that's why I think this is a huge opportunity for people to start thinking about where are people going to really need help in transitioning to this new world. So for instance, like you do with the ARRR coin, with the pirate chain, like that's going to be a major thing to transition people to a new type of currency or to new types of currencies, just to understand that there is no longer one single currency and you can just keep your money in a bank and forget about it. It hasn't been that way for a long time, but people don't understand that. So transitioning people into a world where they think about money differently, where they use money differently, that's super valuable for the people that you're teaching. And it should be valuable for you as well, because I believe in the profit incentive and the profit motives, where you can continue an organization or a business or a self-sufficient property if it's making money and if it's creating wealth. I think that was the problem with a lot of these projects that were like hippie communes back in the 60s or just clubs without any sort of profit, is that it's hard to hold that together and it's hard to fund it in the long term. So I do think that things should always be profitable. You should always come at this from an idea of, how can this make me money, as long as the money that you're making is in exchange for actual value.
Yeah. The profits need to go towards sustaining the system itself, basically,
right.
as I understand. Otherwise, well, yeah, it would collapse sooner or later, because
if it's extractive, if you're just trying to extract, so some people start cryptocurrencies just because they want to ICO, rake in a bunch of money and then take off with it. That's obviously not productive. That's not valuable to other people. You're scamming people. And that's not something that's going to continue long term. But yeah, if you're profiting for the sake of continuing the help that you're providing other people, and you're getting value from that, because again, I don't think we should rely on everybody just being saints to help everybody, transition to the. I think it's great. I think there's a lot of great people out there, and you can rely on that sometimes. But I personally wouldn't want to rely on other people's goodwill. Love when I find it, but not something that I want to be reliant on. Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah. So yeah, well, what else can we do than just educate people and be examples with our own lives and be active? So
yeah, and I think educating people a lot of times is just doing it. Like you're on the website selling things with the cryptocurrency that you believe in, and you're talking to your local flower shop and asking them to accept the token that you believe in. Like, you're not just educating for education's sake. You're actually doing it in a way that's going to make a difference to you, make a difference to other people. So I think that's a great way to educate people. So if, for instance, you were going to start a parallel economy business, we were using the example of like a Raspberry Pi smart home or something. Creating YouTube videos where you explain to people how easy that is, and then at the end you say, oh, and by the way, I offer this service. I think that's a great way to give value to other people and educate them, but also get value back yourself and drum up some business. And that's one of these profitable ways to sustain it. You're going to be able to educate more people if you are also benefiting from this.
Exactly. And I gotta say, I have been doing this myself in that sense that I have told people about Linux and what it does, what it offers to people, what it has offered me. And then I say, well, I could install Linux onto your computer because I can just do it simply and I can install all the applications, just show you around how it works and basic stuff and just like $50 or something like that. And it's easy peasy done. So yeah, that's what I've been doing as well. And also computer, laptop servicing and stuff I've been doing. So.
And if you were going to do that for free, I think it would quickly get old, and you'd be like, okay, well, I'm spending a lot of time doing this, and it's great to educate people, but like, this is a huge time commitment, and what's in it for me? I don't think it's wrong to ask, what's in it for me? Equal relationships, everything like we're talking about with the contracts, it should be equal, and on an even playing field.
Otherwise, it could end up just using people if you do everything and they don't pay anything to you, unless you want to do something voluntarily and like not to get anything except smiles or thank yous in exchange, if that is good for you. But overall, getting some income that enables you to do other stuff like sustain yourself, build something with it. So that is even better. So I recommend that option to the people.
Exactly. Well. It's sustainable, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I guess that's pretty much all that I had in mind to cover. Is there anything else that you wanted to? Oh, by the way, I have been watching your videos. These are really value giving. So I've been enjoying those. To the point, short and very understandable, and so good quality content.
I'm glad you think that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm also one of those subscribers, and I guess you already knew that. Otherwise, I could not have a message
for the parallel, economy project. Yeah, and the more people we can get on there. So I definitely envision it being a stomping ground for people that are all trying to connect and network as well. I think a couple people have shared their stories and what they're working on that page, and I would love to see more of that. If more people are like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is a guy actually just wrote on it, talking about how he started one of these kind of community gardens back in the 90s, was working on food forests somewhere else, and now he's like looking for his next place. And I don't know if we have the volume yet for him to find somebody on our community where he can go and either live on their property and kind of work for rent sort of thing. But if we could get to that point where those are the types of connections being made on this community, I think that would be great. I think that's one of the points of starting this project, to bring this group of people together and network. So I'm really glad that we got to talk and meet each other, and we'll obviously continue to communicate.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's all, and thank you for for this interview. It was
Yeah,
really interesting.
Thanks for setting it up. I appreciate it. It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here.